Spain attracts thousands of immigrants each year, not only Hispanics. We emigrate to look for a better future than the situation in our country. People also emigrate from countries that could be considered first world and developed, like the United States, the world superpower, which for many is the dream, the American dream. How does someone born in the United States choose to move to Spain and change their lifestyle? Well, today we're going to hear the story of Brad, who lives in Galicia. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anita Mateo, a Cuban living in Galicia, Spain, and I make videos about life here. My experiences here include how I adapt, progress, and the opportunities this country offers. Also, some things that aren't so good, like missing my family and things that come with being a migrant. And that's it. I invite you to subscribe, give it a like, and all those things that are super important because we're reaching 500,000 followers. I've said this before. If you're watching and not subscribed, subscribe. Just kidding, I'll keep uploading because I love making videos. Today's video is interesting because not only Latinos emigrate to Galicia, people from other countries also move here. You might wonder, what is this person doing here? But yes, there are even people coming from the United States. As you know, my friend Rachel is from Texas in the United States and she loves Galicia. But I found another person from the United States who also chose to live in Galicia. I wrote to that person and asked if I could interview them to learn how. You ended up in Galicia being from the United States. What drew you here? What differences are there between here and your country? How did you end up here? Because we, at least Cubans, think of the United States as the ultimate place. Not everyone, but as the land of opportunities. Many people from the United States, despite their privileges, come here, and I'd like to know why. It caught my attention, so if it interests you too, keep watching. This will be very interesting.
Hi, I'm Brad. I'm 27 years old and I'm from Indiana. I've been here in Galicia for 3 years. Before, my life in Indiana was pretty typical. I lived in a house in a neighborhood with houses, gardens, a basketball hoop, a very typical life. I went to Indiana University and, well, I had my car because there in the United States it's necessary to drive to do anything. So, a big difference here living in Spain is that you can walk almost everywhere. When you live in the city, it's more like that.
Okay, Brad, so how did you end up here in Spain? What was it that brought you to Spain?
Well, I always loved languages and culture, and I studied Spanish at university. I was always in love with Spain because when I was 17, I came here for an exchange and lived with a family in León, Castilla y León. And for 2 months, I learned Spanish.
Wow, yes. You speak Spanish very well.
Thank you. I've been learning almost my whole life. And as I was telling Anita earlier, I always practiced Spanish with the Latinos when I worked in restaurants. And then at 22, I came to Spain, to Andújar, to teach English for a year, and then to Almería, and finally to Galicia.
Is Spanish hard for you? Isn't it a tough language? Is English easier?
I think it was difficult at first, but when you speak it, it's not difficult. So now it's not difficult. Yes. It's hard for me to express 100% of what I want to say. Sometimes I don't have all the words, but I've improved a lot over the years and I love it too. But I don't know, I think I still prefer to speak English, of course, because it's my language.
Was there a key moment or someone who made you say, I'm going to stay and live in Spain?
I don't think there was. There wasn't a specific moment when I decided to stay in Spain, but at the end of my second year at university, at the end of my second year in Galicia, I was thinking I'm going to go back to the United States and get a job working at a bank and go back to my routine, the same as before. At a bank? No. But I was thinking that after the last year, I had to decide whether I was going to stay in Spain or go back to the United States and find a new job. I was very close to doing it, but in the end I decided no, that's not my dream. My dream was to find freedom. In Spain, abroad, and to meet new people and cultures. And I like Spain and I like Europe, so I decided no, I can't give up yet.
That's something that catches my attention because, for example, I come from a country that's nothing like your country. I mean, we are your country. It's like the world's superpower, right? Yeah, exactly. Of course, my country is your country. We call it the land of opportunities. My country is like the country, a country that's in a really bad situation. It's a dictatorship, and we're looking for freedom, but I think we're looking for a different kind of freedom. For example, like we're I guess I'm looking for food, medicine, and the freedom to express ourselves, the basics. Then later we think about, maybe having a business succeed. Cubans often focus on money, which is why they like the United States. Since there's little in Cuba, they want to move to the United States for more opportunities. But not everyone is the same. So your freedom is kind of different because you already had everything, all the basics. You had them, well, not food or a car. What were you looking for? Like, to be free? In what sense?
That's a good one. Really good question. I mean, I think everyone is looking for, like, why do I do what I do sometimes? And it's true that I had a life that most people in the world want to be in. In the United States, it's very popular. It's a country with a lot of freedom, a lot of opportunities. But I felt that I needed to leave my home, to leave my town.
Want something beyond that so-called perfect life.
Yes, the truth is that I probably have less money here, living in Europe, in Spain, than I had there. But I have another lifestyle that I like, which is being able to go to the mountains a lot, eat food healthy and good. I've always liked Europe since I was 7 or 8 years old. When my father was traveling a lot by plane, I started to get really interested in traveling. And Europe, I don't know.
Life here is very different from life in the United States, or are they similar in some way? I don't know what the difference is because I haven't been to the United States. I don't know.
Good question. The differences between the United States and Europe or Spain, yes. One of the big things is probably driving cars. I mean, that you have to have a car to do a lot of things. Here we are in Coruña and people are walking and you see old people walking. I probably haven't seen as many old people walking anywhere else. It's great to see that. People talked a lot more here. That's another thing, but I don't know. I think people are a bit more social, happier. Maybe they're sociable. People are like that. We have to be alone to feel good and feel that the United States can be achieved because it's an individualistic mentality. Europe or Spain is a bit more about community.
Quality of life. Even as elderly people enjoy life in Cuba. The same. Elderly people say, oh, I'm too old to go out for a walk, and they stay at home, Here you see people of all ages. In fact, today I was coming on the bus and there were two quite elderly people walking on the mountain like an elderly couple. I was just thinking how beautiful that is. I love it.
It's true that many times, by the time they're 70 or 75, they start to be alone and can't leave their house because they have problems. And if they're living in a neighborhood or something, they can't go out to the Plaza Mayor and have a beer or something like that, No country is perfect, and each one has its good things and its bad things. So, as they say in English, well, today it's sunny and that surprises me because in Coruña it's usually raining, I think. I live in Lugo and Lugo, well, it's also a bit gray, but I like it here. The port here is very beautiful and people are here walking with their people, dogs. What I really like about Coruña is the fashion. The fashion in Coruña is very good. I always see women with very beautiful dresses and very interesting earrings. A lot of colors. I think that in Coruña people wear a lot of color, which is different from what I've seen in Lugo.
How did you end up in Galicia, specifically now that you're in Lugo, and why not? Did you go to Madrid or Barcelona, which are more well-known places?
Well, that's a very good question too, because it's very typical for a foreigner to go to Barcelona or Madrid. It's just that I did that program to teach English, and you simply have to choose the autonomous community you want. First, I went to Andalusia, and then I wanted a change, and I always thought of Galicia as this unknown land. I just knew about the Camino de Santiago, that it was very green and beautiful. I'm from Indiana, which is also very green. So I just chose Galicia, and they placed me in a village called Arua. I was teaching and living on a boat in Valdehoras. I was surprised by things I never knew existed. Because Galicia, I think, is very different from the rest of Spain. Spain is more about the small towns, and that's where you really get to know the culture. Another thing I really like about Spain in general is that you can drive 2 hours, 1 hour, and you're already in another part of the country, which is very different culturally. The food as well, the language and everything changes very quickly, like that. Spain has a lot of culture. Yes,
That's something that also surprises me. Like, compared to the United States, the Spain is small. It's about the size of a state. At the same time, there are many places with different languages, foods, and architecture, which I find impressive. So obviously it surprises you too, right? And that's considering you come from a country much bigger than mine, which is just a little island so small. Well, we're doing a very Spanish activity, having a beer on the terrace. How do you like this activity, Brad?
I like this activity. I really like this activity. Look, my glass says Estrella Galicia, and it's filled with Estrella Galicia beer. And I'm really enjoying being here in the square. I think it's the main square, yes, the
Mariapta Square.
of Maria Pita. Then I hope to eat a really good omelette. But this activity is incredible. It's something I was saying before that there isn't much of in the United States. Like being in a plaza with a lot of people on a terrace, like having a drink, watching people. That's what you do in Spain. Sit down, have a drink, and watch people and talk. I think that's the most Spanish thing you can do. So I'm really enjoying it.
What was the first thing? I mean, at first glance, what surprised you about Galicia? At first? What surprised you first when you came to Galicia? Did I say that right? I don't know.
What surprised you most when you arrived in Galicia?
Okay, I speak English well.
I came from Cadiz straight to the Valdora ship. So for me, I thought, wow, it looks very European, like a Nordic country. Nordic because from the slate I saw on the ship, from the roofs and the buildings, it was very European to me. That surprised me. And of course, the Celtic culture of Galicia and all that, that culture really surprised me. So it was very, very green, also super green, grass, trees, forests. I love that. And also another thing was that people were very shorter. I don't know why, but that's how they were. I'm about 180 or something like that, or 187. So for me, people were, that surprised me, but very, very kind. People were very kind. A little cold at first, but the sooner you start getting to know them and everything, you'll always be with that person. They'll always help you.
How have the Galicians welcomed you? What are they like to you? What is their personality like? Is it different from what you were used to in the United States?
I don't know. I'm already a very open person. And I usually approach strangers to talk, and I think Galicians aren't like that. They don't usually talk much to strangers. They're a bit weirder, but they're really good people. Very welcoming to me. They've treated me really well here. A lot of people have taken me to eat at their house or in their village to show me something in Galicia, and that's great.
And what would be your favorite thing about Galicia and your least favorite thing? Well,
I spent a long time in Orense, and I really like the mountains. The mountains and nature, the wildlife, the forests. I love that, and I lived in a village where I could go out from your door and be in the forest, and really quickly, and I love that. And the thing I don't like, it could also be that the weather in winter is really bad. There aren't many things to complain about in Galicia. Maybe that things move very slowly, I don't know, very slowly. I still carry my American energy from the United States, always in a hurry, so I have to get used to it a bit. Is there
any Spanish or Galician custom or Spanish in general, let's say, that you have adopted in your life? For example, if you return to the United States, wouldn't you continue doing it since it's already part of you?
It would be the meal time, so I always eat now at 2:30, 3:30, and have dinner at 10. And in
The United States, how?
is it? Well, in the United States, usually the biggest meal would be breakfast or dinner, and lunch, the meal around 3 o'clock, would be smaller. But here in Spain, that's the most important one. It's the meal at 3 o'clock and the siesta too. I mean, I also take a siesta. Between 4 and 6:30, I'm resting. Maybe a little nap or something like that, but I know that's not normal for everyone. No, not yet.
It's done?
Nap, are you working?
Thank you so much for being here on my channel. I'll also share your Instagram since you create content. Me.
I also upload videos about my life here in Galicia and how I see the culture here, the food, and I share what's happening in my life. So if you want to follow me, well, thank you.
And well, that's it. Subscribe to the channel in case you like this video. If you like it more, if you enjoy videos where people share their experiences, let me know down below in the comments. What did you think? I hope for your support to hit 500,000 followers soon. I'm almost there. Sending a big kiss. See you next Sunday. Bye bye bye.